Hollywood is full of disappearing acts, but comedians are a special case. Their whole job is to be seen and heard. So what does it mean when they go silent? We dug into the stories of 20 comedy legends who faded from view. The reason one Daily Show star left will change how you see fame forever. 1. Emo Phillips. Everyone who was around in the 1980s remembers Emo Phillips. He was not like other comedians. He had that strange, high-pitched voice that went up and down. He would shake on stage and tell some of the darkest, smartest jokes ever written. He wore wild clothes and had that classic, shaggy haircut. He was, to put it mildly, an icon of weird. His album Live from the Hooch was a massive hit. He was all over TV, on shows with David Letterman, and more. People were crazy about his strange, one-line jokes. He was even named one of the greatest comedians of all time. His whole style was about being this odd, childlike person who said very adult and clever things. But here's the kicker. As the 80s turned into the 90s, emo seemed to just fade away. The big TV specials stopped. The huge tours seemed to slow down. He wasn't the face of comedy anymore. Fans were left wondering, where did that strange voice go? You see, the thing nobody tells you is that emo never stopped being creative. He just found a new passion. Believe it or not, he got very, very interested in puppetry. Yes, puppets. He started working on projects and shows that used puppets. He found a new way to show his unique humor without all the pressure of the stand-up stage. He didn't vanish. He just found a new stage. Emo traded the mic for a puppet. But our next comedian didn't trade his mic for anything. He just went quiet. And his reason is, to put it mildly, bizarre. 2. Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright was the king of the deadpan. He would walk on stage looking like he just woke up and say things that made your brain twist. He never smiled. He never raised his voice. He just delivered pure genius. In the 80s, he was a true superstar. He appeared on The Tonight Show and blew everyone away. He won an Academy Award for a short film he made. His comedy album, I Have a Pony, was nominated for a Grammy. His jokes were legendary. I have a map of the United States. It's to scale. 1 mile equals 1 mile. He was on top of the world. And then, after his 1990 special, Wicker Chairs and Gravity, he just stopped. Not all at once, but the flow of new stuff turned into a tiny drip. For almost a decade, the comedy world heard very little from Stephen Wright. No new albums, no big tours. It was like he went ghost. So what happened? What many overlooked is that Wright was not built for the fast and loud life of a superstar. He became, to put it mildly, a semi-hermit. He stopped touring because he needed time to think. He said he needed to just live his life to find new, weird things to say. He would go years without writing a new joke, waiting for the perfect one. He didn't care about being famous. He only cared about the craft. Wright chose peace and quiet to find the perfect joke. But our next comic, a huge star from the UK, didn't choose quiet. He just chose a different room to be loud in. 3. Harry Enfield. If you lived in England in the 1990s, Harry Enfield was a god. He was bigger than Saturday Night Live. He created characters that everyone in the country knew and quoted every single day. Characters like Loads of Money, a rich, loud guy, and Tory Boy, a funny take on politicians. He had his own sketch shows. He was on TV all the time. He was the face of British comedy. His live tours sold out massive arenas. He was at the absolute peak. If you wanted to laugh in the UK, you went to see Harry Enfield. But then the tours just stopped. He wasn't on the stand-up stage anymore. If you're in the United States, you probably never saw him on a stage at all. He seemed to pull back from the spotlight, and many fans wondered why he would walk away. Here's the thing. Harry Enfield's real love was not performing live. His real love was writing. He decided to focus all his energy on creating TV shows. He wanted to be behind the camera, not in front of it. He was happier writing the jokes for other people and building whole new worlds on television. He didn't have to deal with the stress of a live crowd. He just wanted to write. He traded the stage for the writer's room. Our next comedian, also from the UK, traded the stage for his own voice, in a very different way. 4. Andrew Maxwell. Andrew Maxwell is a comedian from Ireland who became a huge name on the UK comedy scene. He was known for his loud, wild energy. He had a big, bushy beard and a booming voice. He was the kind of comic who would grab a show by the throat and not let go. He was a regular on all the big UK panel shows, like Mock the Week. He won awards. He toured all the time and was a favorite at the big Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He was a road warrior, a true stand-up who lived for the live show. His fans loved his sharp, smart, and loud style. But in recent years, his stand-up touring has slowed way down. He's not the constant presence on TV that he used to be. You don't see his name on the marquee as often. It's a change that left a lot of people scratching their heads. Where did all that energy go? You see, Andrew Maxwell found a new place to put his voice. He dropped his full-time stand-up life to focus on podcasting. He's not the first one to do it, but he's a great example. He can now reach his fans directly from his own home without the grind of traveling from city to city. He found a way to keep being a comedian, but on his own terms, without the part of the job he grew tired of. Maxwell chose the podcast mic over the stage mic. But our next comedian didn't just choose a different mic. He chose a whole different kind of art. 5. Demetri Martin. Demetri Martin was supposed to be the next big thing, and for a while, he was. He was the thinking person's comedian. He was quiet, smart, and he used a big notepad to tell his jokes. He played the guitar. He made little charts and graphs. He got his big break on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He was the trend analyst. From there, he got his own show on Comedy Central. It was called Important Things with Demetri Martin. It was clever, and it was weird. He was on the cover of magazines. He was selling out huge theaters. Then, his show ended, and Demetri seemed to just dip. He wasn't on TV every week. He wasn't the it guy of comedy anymore. He was still around, but he wasn't at that same superstar level. It was a classic case of whatever happened to that guy. The truth is, Demetri Martin is an artist, and he didn't want to just be a comedian. What many overlooked is that he is a very talented writer and illustrator. He started writing books. He wrote and directed his own movie. He wanted to use all parts of his brain, not just the stand-up part. He found more joy in writing and drawing than in the constant pressure of being a TV star. He didn't vanish. He just turned the page. But our next comedian story isn't about new art. It's about taking a break to save her own life. 6. Maria Bamford. Maria Bamford is a comedian's comedian. She is known for her amazing, strange, and brilliant performances. She does dozens of different voices. She can play her mom, her dad, her sister, and any other character she can think of. Her comedy is deeply personal, weird, and, to put it mildly, amazing. She had her own specials. She had her own Netflix show called Lady Dynamite, which was based on her own life. She was a critical darling. Everyone in the comedy world agreed. Maria Bamford was a genius. But her career has been full of breaks. There would be times when she was everywhere, and then there would be times when she was nowhere. She would disappear from the scene for long stretches, leaving fans to wonder if she was okay. The thing nobody tells you is that Maria Bamford has been very open about her life. She has talked about her struggles with mental health. She has been very honest about needing to take breaks to stay healthy. She would check herself into hospitals when she needed to. She put her health, her mind, and her well-being first. She chose to have a smaller, more low-profile career in order to have a happy and healthy life. Maria's vanishing acts were acts of self-care, but our next comedian's vanishing act was a choice he made for his family. 7. Jim Breuer. If you watched Saturday Night Live in the mid-90s, you know Jim Breuer. He was the Goat Boy. He was famous for his spot-on impression of actor Joe Pesci. And most famously, he was part of the Night at the Roxbury sketches, though he wasn't in the movie. He was a huge, high-energy star on the biggest comedy show in the world. He was on SNL for 3 years, from 1995 to 1998. He also starred in the cult classic movie Half-Baked with Dave Chappelle. He was on a rocket to the top of the comedy world. He could have had it all. And then he quit. He left SNL. He didn't go on to star in a bunch of movies. He didn't get his own sitcom. He just left the spotlight. It was a move that no one in Hollywood could understand. Why would you leave the biggest show on earth? Here's the thing. Jim Breuer didn't want to be a superstar. He wanted to be a dad. He quit his SNL life to focus on his family. He has been very open about this. He said his father was very ill and he needed to be there for him. He moved out of the city and raised his kids. He never stopped doing stand-up, but he did it on his own terms, touring when he wanted to, and always putting his family first. Breuer traded Hollywood for home. Our next comic seems to be avoiding Hollywood on purpose. 8. Rory Scovel. Rory Scovel is a force of nature. He's one of the most creative and unpredictable stand-up comedians working today. One night, he'll do a show with a perfect German accent. The next, he'll pretend to be a totally different person. You never know what you're going to get. He's had roles in movies like The House with Will Ferrell. He's had his own specials. He is deeply respected by every other comedian in the business. They all think he's a genius. He has all the talent to be one of the biggest stars in the world. But he isn't. He's not a household name. He's not headlining blockbuster movies. He seems to actively avoid fame. After a big special or a movie role, he tends to pull back. He goes back to small clubs. He goes back to being weird. What many overlooked is that this is his plan. Rory Scovel doesn't want to be a massive star. He is an artist who is afraid that fame will ruin his art. He doesn't want to be trapped in a box. He doesn't want people to expect the same thing from him every night. He is, to put it mildly, avoiding fame so he can stay creative. He vanishes from the mainstream on purpose. He runs away from fame. But our next comedian didn't run. He just found a comfier chair in a different medium. 9. Paul F. Tompkins. Paul F. Tompkins, or PFT as his fans call him, is a legend. He is known for his amazing storytelling, his sharp suits, and his incredible voice. He's been in movies like There Will Be Blood. He's been on countless TV shows. He was, for a long time, a stand-up comedian. He toured. He had specials. He was a master of the craft. He was one of the best hosts in the business, running live shows in Los Angeles that were the talk of the town. But if you're looking for a new PFT stand-up tour, you're going to have a hard time. His live stand-up sets have become rare. He's not on the road like he used to be. He seems to have vanished from the stand-up club scene. Here's the secret. He didn't go anywhere. He just became the king of podcasting. Paul F. Tompkins is one of the most beloved and busy podcast guests in the world. He's a regular on shows like Comedy Bang Bang. He has his own podcasts. He found that he could be funnier. weirder and more creative by sitting in a chair and talking with his friends than by flying to a new city every weekend. He traded the stage for the podcast studio. Our next comedian, however, traded the stage for a Marvel movie set. 10. Kumail Nanjiani. Kumail Nanjiani was a stand-up comic beloved by nerds and comedy fans everywhere. He was smart, funny, and a little awkward. He told personal stories about his Pakistani family, his love of video games, and feeling like an outsider. He got a big break on the hit show Silicon Valley. But his real breakthrough was the movie The Big Sick. He wrote it with his wife, Emily V. Gordon, and it was about their real-life love story. It was a huge, massive hit. Kumail was nominated for an Academy Award. He was at the absolute top of the comedy world. And then, where did the stand-up go? He wasn't in the clubs. He wasn't releasing new specials. It seemed like the Kumail Nanjiani who told jokes for a living was gone. The thing nobody tells you is that he didn't vanish. He ascended. Hollywood called, and they called big. Kumail got an offer to be in a Marvel movie, Eternals. He completely changed his body, getting huge muscles. He became a full-blown movie star. He didn't disappear. He just moved to a much, much bigger stage. Kumail traded the comedy club for a movie set. But our next comic, Hannah Gadsby, didn't just leave the stage. She tried to burn the whole thing down on her way out. 11. Hannah Gadsby. Hannah Gadsby, from Australia, was a well-liked comedian for over a decade. She was funny, smart, and told good stories. She was a solid working comic. Then, in 2018, she released a special on Netflix called Nanette. It was an explosion. It started as a comedy special, and then it wasn't. It became a raw, honest, and powerful speech about her life, her pain, and her anger. It won awards all over the world. It changed comedy. And in the middle of the special, she said very clearly, "I'm quitting comedy." And for a while, it looked like she meant it. She was the biggest name in comedy, and she was walking away. The world was watching her, and she went silent. The backlash and the conversations about Nanette were huge. To put it mildly, it was a lot. But not all things are what they seem. She did take a break, she did step away. But the thing nobody tells you is, she came back. She released another special called Douglas. She realized that the power she found in Nanette was too important to give up. She didn't quit, she just changed the rules. Hannah's vanishing was a powerful statement. Our next comedian's vanishing act was just a different job offer. 12. Russell Kane. Over in the UK, Russell Kane is a human tornado. His comedy is all about high energy. He's skinny, he moves around a lot, and he talks a mile a minute. He's known for his smart, fast jokes about life in modern Britain. He won the biggest award in UK comedy, the Edinburgh Comedy Award. He was on track to be one of the biggest stand-up acts in the country. He was touring, he was on TV, and he was building a huge fan base. But in the last few years, his pure stand-up has taken a back seat. He's not the road warrior he once was. He's still around, but his focus has clearly shifted. So where did he go? He got pulled into the world of television. But not just as a guest. He became a host. He started hosting TV shows, writing for TV shows, and creating his own online content. He found that he could reach way more people and make a better living by focusing on TV gigs rather than the exhausting life of a full-time stand-up. It's a classic story of a comedian graduating from the stage. He chose the TV studio over the comedy club. Our next comic made the same choice, and it made him one of the most famous faces in UK television. 13. Josh Widdicombe. Josh Widdicombe is another star from the UK comedy scene. He's known for his high-pitched, complaining voice and his funny rants about things that annoy him. He's got a very unique, grumpy, but lovable style. He started in stand-up and was very, very good at it. He was nominated for all the big awards. He sold out tours. He was on the path to being a pure stand-up for life. And then a TV show called The Last Leg happened. It started as a small show during the 2012 London Paralympics. Josh was one of the hosts. The show was a massive, unexpected hit. It was funny, it was smart, and it was different. The show became so popular that it never went off the air. It's been running for over 10 years. Josh Widdicombe became a TV star. His stand-up career, while still there, became secondary. The TV show became his main job, a job that takes up so much of his time that he's vanished from the full-time touring circuit. He didn't fail at stand-up, he just succeeded too much at television. He vanished into a hit TV show. Our next comedian vanished into the internet. 14. Rob Delaney. Rob Delaney was a struggling comedian in Los Angeles for years. He was funny, but he couldn't get a break. He was performing in tiny clubs for just a few people. Then a new thing called Twitter came along. And Rob Delaney was, to put it mildly, amazing at it. He would write these short, brilliant, and bizarre jokes. He became one of the first Twitter-famous people. He got a huge following. He was so funny on Twitter that he won an award for funniest person on Twitter. But this created a strange problem. He was famous, but not for his stand-up. People knew his name, but they had never seen him on a stage. He did some tours, but he never became that big touring act. The thing nobody tells you is that Twitter was the break. His Twitter fame got him a TV deal. He co-created and starred in a show called Catastrophe. It was a huge, award-winning hit. He's now a successful TV writer and actor. He didn't need the stand-up tours. He used the internet to skip that step entirely. He used 140 characters to build a new career. Our next comic also used a TV show to find his path, but his vanishing act came after the show ended. 15. Al Madrigal. Al Madrigal was a fantastic stand-up comedian for years. He was a regular in clubs all over the country. He had a great, laid-back style, talking about his family and his life as a half-white, half-Mexican guy. Then he got the job that every comic dreams of. He became a correspondent on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He was fantastic. He was funny, smart, and a perfect fit for the show. He was on TV screens across America every night. But after The Daily Show, his stand-up career seemed to slow down. He didn't launch a massive new tour. He didn't release a string of specials. He took a big step back from the spotlight that he had worked so hard to get into. So what happened? Al Madrigal made a choice. He chose his family. He has talked about how the grind of The Daily Show and the pressure of stand-up took him away from his kids. When his time on the show ended, he decided to focus on being a dad. He still acts, he still works, but he put his family life first, choosing a quieter life over a louder career. He chose family over fame. Our next comedian also found that acting, not stand-up, was his true calling. 16. Tom Rosenthal. In the UK, Tom Rosenthal is famous. But he's not famous for his stand-up. He's famous for being an actor on two huge, beloved sitcoms. He played Johnny in Friday Night Dinner and Marcus in Plebs. But here's the thing, before all that, he was a stand-up comedian. He started on the stand-up circuit, telling jokes in clubs. He was good at it. He was building a name for himself. And then he got cast in Friday Night Dinner. The show was a huge hit, and his stand-up career just stopped. He completely vanished from the comedy clubs. You see, the acting roles took over his life. He became so well known as the characters he played that it became hard for him to be himself on stage. But more than that, he just found that he liked acting more. He was good at it, and it was a steadier job. He didn't have to write new jokes all the time. He just had to show up and be funny. He's a comedian who vanished into the world of acting. He got so famous as an actor, he didn't need to be a comedian. But our next comedian is famous as a comedian, but he's vanished in a different way. 17. Mark Normand. Mark Normand is, right now, one of the most popular comedians in America. He is a joke-telling machine. He is fast, sharp, and has a classic old-school style. He's all over podcasts. He sells out theaters. But here is the vanishing. Why isn't he a household name? Why isn't he on a sitcom? Why isn't he in movies? For a comedian this good and this popular, it feels like he's missing. The data says he has selective gigs, no big breaks. But what many overlooked is that Mark Normand is playing a totally different game. He is not trying to be a movie star. He is a pure stand-up, and he's building an empire on his own terms. He built his fame through podcasts like Tuesdays with Stories and We Might Be Drunk. He releases his own specials on YouTube, getting millions of views. Wow factor. He has proven that you don't need a big break from a network. You can build your own network. He didn't vanish. He just built his own spotlight, and it's working. Mark Normand proved you don't need big breaks. But our next comic from the UK found that his break took him away from comedy and into activism. 18. Nish Kumar. Nish Kumar was one of the fastest rising stars in UK comedy. He was smart, political, and very, very funny. He hosted his own TV show on the BBC called The MASH Report, which was like a British version of The Daily Show. He was on all the panel shows. He was touring. He was the voice of a new, smart generation of comedy. And then it all got very intense. His political comedy started to get a lot of angry reactions. To put it mildly, some people did not like what he was saying. He famously had a piece of bread thrown at him on stage at a charity event. His TV show was canceled, and Nish pulled back. He didn't stop being a comedian, but he vanished from that mainstream TV host role. He became more focused on political activism. He realized that the jokes he was telling were part of a bigger, more serious conversation. He's still a comedian, but his career became less about just being funny and more about his message. His comedy became his activism. Our next comedian's career was changed, not by politics, but by a challenge he has to face every single day. 19. Chris McCausland. Chris McCausland is a British comedian with a unique story. He's funny, charming, and a regular on the UK comedy circuit. He's been on all the big TV shows and is very respected. But what many people don't know is that Chris is blind. He has a condition that caused him to lose his sight over time. This presents, as you can imagine, huge challenges for a touring comedian. He can't just drive to a gig. He can't see the audience. He has to navigate a new stage in a new city every single night in the dark. Because of this, his work is, by necessity, sporadic. He can't tour with the same intensity as other comics. He has to pick his gigs carefully. He has to work twice as hard just to get to the stage. He hasn't vanished because he's not good. He has to be selective because of the incredible challenges he faces. He's a hero on the circuit, a man who is so funny and so dedicated that he overcomes this massive hurdle every single night he performs. His challenge makes his work sporadic, but no less brilliant. Our final comedian also vanished from the stand-up stage because she's now writing one of the biggest shows on TV. 20. Hannah Einbinder. Hannah Einbinder was a young, up-and-coming stand-up comedian. She was getting buzz. She was performing in clubs. She was on the path. She was funny, smart, and had a great, unique style. Then she got an audition. It was for a new show about a legendary, aging comedian and her young new writer. The show was called Hacks. Hannah got the part. She was cast as Ava, opposite the legend Jean Smart. The show became a massive, global, award-winning hit. It is one of the biggest and best shows on television. And just like that, Hannah Einbinder's stand-up career vanished. She's not in the clubs. She's not touring. She is now a full-time, very famous actress. But here's the best part. Her new job isn't just acting. She's also a writer for the show. She's vanished as a stand-up comedian because she's too busy writing and starring in a hit show about being a comedian. It's the ultimate upgrade. The ultimate upgrade.